Yo, what's going on YouTube? How you guys doing? We have a developer update here ready to go. By the time you guys are seeing this video, the PTB will most likely already be out, where this stuff will, I think, be being tested. I think this stuff's going to be on the PTB. So you guys are probably already like seeing this. Maybe there's probably people live streaming it, or maybe you've already played it. But either way, I want to quickly go over it and give my thoughts and everything and kind of give my take on all the changes that are happening and whether or not I think they're going to be very impactful or maybe do nothing at all, or, you know, whatever. Let's just get started. This is going to be a pretty scuffed video, but you know what? It's fine. I'm just here to share a quick opinion, all right? Survivor Activity HUD. This is something they teased out on Twitter. Basically, there's a big thing here where they're explaining things, but essentially, this is the important thing. Each survivor will now display their current action next to their portrait. These actions include repairing a generator, opening a gate, healing, mending, and recovering, cleansing and blessing a totem, searching a chest, killer-specific actions, e.g. snapping out of it, waking up a survivor, etc., etc. So essentially, yeah, here's like a picture. And basically, there's a little emblem above them that shows what they're doing. Like Vittorio is currently doing a totem, and then Adam's looting a chest, and Zarina is, you know, doing a gen, and it looks like apparently there's like these little entity claws. Like you see how the obsession has like the big entity claws around them. Jeff has those like little tiny claws beside him. That's going to be a thing too as well. Like you're going to be able to see what killer's being chased, because when any killer, or sorry, what survivor's being chased, because when any survivor's being chased, they're going to have these like little entity claws that pop up, which is actually really useful. It's just a lot of information to give people that are solo. I actually like this quite a bit. This is a lot of info. I would argue this even helps survive the friends in a way. Like I don't know how you guys are, but whenever I play with friends, we're not necessarily communicating everything, so this is just good info all around. But I definitely think this is going to help bridge that gap between Survivor with Friends and solo, although not as much as I think. Like I think this is a good first step is what I'll say. This is a good change. I like this. This is a really solid good change. I really hope that they have more though. Like I want there to be more stuff in the future. I don't know if they say that or not. Let me quickly skim. Okay, I just want to say that I like this paragraph. They said that they want to avoid anything that can give already coordinated groups an advantage, such as showing a survivor's exact location. Due to the procedural nature of Dead by Daylight maps, callouts like this can be hazy at times, so pinpointing the exact location can give pre-made groups, which is a good thing. A lot of people have suggested a ping system where you can basically ping like a place on the ground, and I actually really don't like that because I think it would still help Survivor the Friends too. And they seem to agree because like that's kind of what this says. Because I do agree with that. I think the major change that needs to come with this is something that I've said on stream a bunch of times, so I apologize if this is like your 30th time hearing it. I think that when you're in game and you hit escape and the little screen pops up that shows you like what your ping is and also what offerings were burned, I think on that screen you should be able to see your teammates' perks. You should be able to see their build. I think that would do a lot for you. Like this information that they're giving you in the screenshot is definitely solid, right? It kind of tells you what your teammates are doing for the most part. It can kind of help you know what to do in certain scenarios. But I still think there's a lot of situations where like knowing that a teammate has adrenaline, or knowing that a teammate has power struggle, or knowing a teammate has, I don't know, one of many perks is so beneficial. And there's a lot of perks in this game that are actually just not viable when you're not in a group. Perks like reassurance, perks like kinship are really solid perks when you're in a group and people know that they exist. But when you're playing solo and you can't communicate any of it to your teammates, they're basically useless. Like there's no way for anyone to know, there's no way for anyone to know that they're in play, so there's really no way to get value out of them, and it's just kind of silly. I think being able to see your teammates' builds would really increase the overall skill gap for Survivor, and you would see a lot more like random SoloQ survivors having good teamwork together. So that mixed with this would probably be like the most ideal perfect change, but this is definitely a good step in the right direction, and I definitely like this change. Looks like up next we got updated wiggle mechanics. What do they do here? Oh, this is basically nothing. They're basically just saying that the new system's coming out of beta and it's being forced on everybody, I think. Also, actually, this is kind of a big deal. They said that hitting great skill checks no longer increases your wiggle speed, and instead it's gonna increase how much the killer sways when carrying, which is actually kind of a big deal. Yeah, you can shave like an entire second off of the carry time, which is actually kind of huge. I guess I don't really mind this. I think this is fine. I think that's a good change. And they're also the big thing is that if you're not wiggling, like if you're not attempting to wiggle at all, they're going to make the sound less loud and a lot more subtle. Thank God. There's been so many situations where like a killer wants to give me hatch and I'm being carried and I'm like not wiggling, and you hear that really annoying sound over and over. Oh, it's so painful. So honestly, I guess that's fine too. Solid changes. Here's the big one. Here's the doozy, the nurse. I'll try to sum this up quickly because I've already briefly went through this. This is probably the biggest thing, and a bunch of people told me about it the second I got out of bed this morning. Basically, Nurse's blink hits are going to be special attacks. They're not going to be basic attacks anymore, which means they won't work with things that do exposed, like Starstruck or No-Ed or whatever. They also won't work with things like Sloppy Butcher, so a lot of that stuff won't work, which is honestly something that's needed to happen for a long time. I honestly, they need to do this to more killers. Like, for instance, Death Slinger's attacks being basic attacks are weird. Like, he shoots you with a gun, reels you in, and then hits you, and the hit literally puts you into deep wounds. Like the hit is so non-basic that it puts you into deep wounds. Like, that is very not basic. So I don't know. I think Nurse hits should have been special attacks a long time ago. I think Death Slinger's attacks, I love Death Slinger, and it would probably be a nerf to him. And I play him all the time, and I still think, just for the sake of clarity, it shouldn't be a special, or it shouldn't be a basic attack. It should be special for sure. Anyway, that's a pretty big change in terms of like the perks she can run. She can't run Jolt, she can't run Sloppy, she can't run exposed perks anymore without them being basically useless. So overall, interesting change. I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna like this, but at the same time, there's still a lot of OP perks in the game that aren't based around basic attacks. Like, now instead of running Starstruck and No-Ed, they're just gonna run like Colorblind Eruption. You know, so I don't think this is really like that huge of a deal. Like, it's cool and I like it, don't get me wrong, I do like it. I think it's cool, I think it's a good change. It's not that huge of a deal though. Like, it's not as big of a deal as the other change. I think these changes are a much bigger deal. They're talking about how they're revisiting their add-ons and blah 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 blah. They teased the 2 add-ons. Basically, the undetectable add-on's getting a slight buff. I think the cooldown is like being reduced, and also maybe this is longer. I don't know. This add-on basically already exists. It's just I think the cooldown is being better. And they're also this add-on already exists too, but they're buffing it a lot. This current add-on in the live game basically consumes a blink charge to go back to your previous position. So like if you had 2 blinks, you can blink once and then you can blink back. Like, that's all you can do. And it would use up all your blinks. But now, once all your blinks are exhausted, so you have to use all your blinks, you can teleport back to the original position, but once you return, you get all your blinks immediately, which is really interesting. So you get to use all of your blinks, right? So you can like blink once, blink again, and then go way back to the beginning, and then have all your blinks. This could lead to some really interesting plays. I think this add-on might end up being really good, especially considering the fact that I think they're completely butchering a lot of her other add-ons. The important line is this one right here. Notably, any add-on that increases the nurse's maximum blink range has been replaced with a completely new effect. That is the biggest line. That means that both Kavana's Last Breath and Heavy Panting have both been changed. There will be no more range add-ons. No more add-ons that increase nurse's range, which is huge. Those have been by miles the strongest add-ons on Nurse for a very, very long time. And the reason why is because when Nurse messes up, right? Like, if a Nurse accidentally charges her blink for way too long and then like blinks past you and you like, you know, run towards her and make her lose a bunch of distance, that's normally how you outplay Nurse, right? Like, in that situation, Nurse should be punished and it should be very difficult for her to catch up to you. But with range add-ons, that wasn't really the case. She was able to catch up with basically her next set of blinks because she can blink so far that like getting distance on her wasn't even that strong, even though that was kind of her only counterplay, right? Like, her only counterplay is distance, but when she can blink like an extra like 10, 20 meters, then the extra distance doesn't even matter. So it was like a counterplay to her counterplay. But now that's gone, and she's gonna actually have 1 maximum range, which is good. I think that's a really, like, I think that's the biggest change out of all. I think getting rid of her range add-ons is definitely the biggest of all. And also, FYI, her recharge add-ons are in here too. Fragile Wheeze and Dark Cincture were both the recharge add-ons. So they might, I don't think it says anywhere that they're confirmed never going to be recharged like they did with range, but it does say that they're going to be changed. So they're either probably going to get like nerfed or maybe just changed altogether. So that's good. I mean, all the add-ons that seem like they make her really strong seems like they're getting changed, hopefully for the better. I mean, I'm basically just going to say a prayer that hopefully none of these add-ons end up being so OP that like, I'm like, oh man, I missed the old add-ons. These ones are even stronger. I'm just going to hope that doesn't happen, because so far it looks solid. No more range add-ons seems solid. The special attack seems cool. Not a huge deal on the special attacks, but I do think it's a nice change. The range add-on nerf is huge though. I like this. But I will say, a lot of people are overreacting and saying that Nurse is dead, Nurse is dead. Nurse is still going to be the strongest killer in the game. She's still going to be really oppressive. I guarantee you, all you motherfuckers are still going to complain about this killer. People are still going to bitch about this killer left and right. Don't worry. She's not, like, going to be weak or anything. She's still going to be the strongest killer in the game. Blight is, like, inching on her a little bit, but I think she's still better than Blight by at least a little bit, I would say. So yeah, I don't know. It's not like a huge change. It's just nice, but you know, she's still gonna be annoying. She's still gonna be OP. People are still gonna hate her. So I guess step in the right direction. But you know, people probably aren't gonna be happy after like a month or two of this being live. Like they're gonna go right back to hating her. So these night changes are interesting too. I don't really know how I feel about them. I'll cover them really quickly. Basically, they're making it so that the orb that survivors see slowly shrinks as it goes on. So like once you get past 10 meters of use of a patrol, the orb will go away entirely and the survivors won't be able to see where it is. So it just hides some information from survivors. Cool. Also, after basically all these effects are like after 10 meters. I don't know. It's like this weird 10-meter thing. After creating a path longer than 10 meters, you'll also gain a haste size effect for a few seconds. So the night will move faster afterwards. I guess that's okay. Also, the guards will move to the position that they spotted a survivor and begin chasing faster, depending on the length of the patrol path. But like with haste, this only pass longer than 10 meters will benefit from this. So this is also weird too. The longer the patrol path, apparently the faster the chase starts when someone gets spotted. So that's actually, this feels like the biggest buff out of all. Because one of the things that makes the guards so weak is that when they spot you, they take so long to run to whatever position they spotted the person and then start chasing. That again, like I've made videos about this, you can run right through them. Like you can run directly through them. Like you don't even have to turn away from them. Like if you see a guard, you could hold W straight through their body and they'll go behind you and then start chasing you from like 20 meters behind. It's insane. So this sounds like it's going to make that like less of a problem. I don't know by how much because it doesn't show any numbers, but that's kind of interesting. I will say, though, even with all of this, it's still going to be difficult to utilize long paths. Because at the end of the day, if you're ever stopping, like if you're mid-chase and you're like stopping to create a long path, survivors are going to just run away, right? Like this feels like, it feels interesting. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen when this all comes to live. I think the haste is probably going to be like the least important one. Like this feels like it's not even that big of a deal, but maybe it can come in useful in certain situations. This feels like it could be good. I feel like this is going to make it like really good for when someone's in like the corner of a map, but I honestly don't really know how much of a difference it's going to make to the killer. Oh, the last thing as well is that when a guard kicks a generator, it regresses it by 5% instead of 2.5, which is actually kind of a lot. 5% is a decent chunk of the gen gone. Like, to be honest with you, that's actually kind of a big deal. And I wonder if that number is too high. Because I feel like holding down like a 3-gen might end up getting really annoying if you can like... Because if I'm not mistaken as well, I think when you force a guard to kick a gen, I think even if survivors are working on that gen, it'll just kick it anyway. Like, it'll kick them off the gen and until the guard's done doing damage. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's at least how it worked for a while. I don't know if it still does. So this could actually get really obnoxious, but it is interesting. I mean, it is interesting because it doesn't apply the gen kick perks, but like it's a good bit of regression. So overall, I don't actually think this is going to make any major drastic changes to the knight and how he plays, but I'm praying that I'm wrong. And I'm hoping that this is going to open him up to some more interesting playstyles, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try some stuff out on the PTB, and hopefully I'm wrong, because I would love the knight to be more interesting. And hopefully this does something, but I'm really not that hopeful on it. Okay, there's a change to Eyrie of Crows as well. They basically said, hey, this map is survivor-sided, so we're going to change it. They basically made the map a square instead of a rectangle, and they also said that they're changing where maze tiles are in comparison to Shack and the main building to make sure that you can't loop them easily, which doesn't really seem like a problem in the current Eyrie of Crows, but I guess maybe with it being square-shaped, maybe that would be a problem. I don't know. They're basically just making the map a square instead of a rectangle, which is going to make it smaller overall. And also they said they're going to add more foliage and more grass and stuff for Trapper, which is also needed because this map was horrible for Trapper. There's like nowhere to hide your traps. So that's also a really good change too. And then they also look like they're teasing in a new tile, which is kind of interesting. This tile looks actually I don't hate it. I really don't hate it too much. The palette looks like it's probably not that good, but it's really hard to say because I don't really know what the collision is like of this left statue, right? Like this collision could be really tight or it could be really wide. I don't know. This looks like a relatively weak palette, but honestly, I like weak palettes, so I don't really mind this. This is actually okay. So curious to see how that's gonna play out. That should be interesting. This honestly looks like death against Huntress though. Like if you're playing against like any kind of a range killer, Trickster, Huntress, like I think they'll murder you here in like half a second because these look like really small walls, but. I don't know. Looks cool. I mean, I'm not really opposed to it. I guess it looks fine. So I guess I'm excited for that change too. That also feels like a pretty good map, and I'm pretty excited for it. Next thing is just a little quality of life. It's a little quality of life, but this is actually a pretty big change. In-game challenge tracker. So basically, when you're doing an archive challenge, when you're actually getting progress on it, you can see the progress. You can see the progress of the challenge. That is fucking awesome. This is something that I feel like should have been in the game forever. This feels like it's like standard in every video game ever, right? Like what video game do you play where you have like selectable challenges or whatever where you don't see the progress pop up in game? Well, there probably is games, but regardless, I feel like every good game has this. Like it seems like such a obvious thing to include in your game, so I'm really glad that they're adding it. I think it's just overall great quality of life. It's going to make the game just feel better to play, which is great. I love that. And they're also letting you do more stuff while waiting for a match. This is also cool. These are nice quality of life improvements. I'm gonna be honest with you. These are nice little quality. Like it's little things, but it's little things that just make the game feel better, which honestly goes a long way. Basically, while you're queuing up for a match and while you're searching for a match, you'll be able to like check out the store and you'll be able to like go into the archives and pick new challenges. And apparently, even for killers, when you're like queuing up for a killer game, you'll be able to level up other killers while you're queued up. But you can't actually change the killer that you're playing. Because the big reason why you can't change the killer in the lobby to spend points is that you have to lock yourself into whatever killer you're playing so that your MMR is accurate, right? Because your MMR is different per each killer. Like you might be a great nurse, but you might suck at Myers or something, right? So like, so basically this is making it so you can queue for the killer, but you can still switch and spend blood points. You just can't, like you're still going to be playing the killer that you originally picked though. So again, just great, solid changes. I mean, I love that. This one hurts because I'm currently doing an Adept challenge like series on YouTube. And I'm sure you got, I mean, on YouTube, that's where this video is. I'm doing an Adept series challenge, so like this kind of sucks. But they're basically making it so that Merciless Killer, Ruthless Killer, Brutal Killer is based off of kills instead of emblems now. So it's just going to be based off kills and that's it. I've seen some different opinions on this. Some people have said that this is going to make people sweat for the 4K more, but I think that already happens anyway, so I'm not really too worried about it. I think if people were going to sweat for the 4K, I think they'd already do it. So I don't really think this is going to be that impactful towards making games more sweaty. I think it's going to be kind of okay. This will make Adept challenges like a million times easier. So I guess maybe I'll just try to speed run the challenge or something and try to just record a bunch of them over the next couple weeks until this comes live. I don't know. But this is going to make the Adept challenges not as interesting, but also easier. So if you're somebody that hasn't gotten them and you just want to get them quickly, I guess this will make it easier. So I guess that's cool. Sure, why not? I'm going to be honest with you, I don't give a shit about skins in this game at all, or any game for that matter. I think skins in games are a waste of money, and I would not recommend buying skins ever. Actually, I shouldn't say that. You can buy skins if you want to support the devs. I just grew up poor, and I would never spend money on colored pixels in a video game, so I just don't care. I'm just going to move on. An update on cheating. This game is so hard. Okay, wait, what is this? This is the number of cheaters banned each year since Dead by Daylight was released, and it's grown a lot. Apparently in 2022 they banned 64,000 cheaters, almost 65,000. That's crazy. I mean, to be honest with you, cheaters have felt a lot better. I feel like I haven't been running into them much lately, so I feel like they've been handling the cheating situation pretty well overall. Like, I can't remember the last time I ran into a hacker. It's been months. Like, months ago, I remember it was like every game. Not every game, but it was like every night I feel like you'd run into at least one. And now I feel like it's been like weeks since I've even seen one, so... yeah, I mean, I guess that's the end of it. That's the end of the whole thing. Overall, this is great. There's nothing in these notes. There's not a single thing in this like page that I think is bad. Now, a lot of the changes I think are maybe not as good as they could be. Like, again, things like the night changes, like the nurse changes. I think they could have obviously done more, but I don't think any of them are bad. I think every change here is either good or a step in the right direction, or at least like a net positive, right? Like, I don't think anything here is like a setback at all. It's all good stuff. So overall, this developer update, pretty sick. I actually don't really have any hot takes or anything. Like normally whenever there's dev updates, I usually have like a hot take or two where I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm going to say something and it's going to piss everyone off. There's really nothing to say. These are all just great changes. And again, I'm hoping that they expand on these a lot more, like stuff like this, like the whole like SoloQ start defense thing. And hopefully they keep expanding on it. But overall, just great patch. I'm excited to try the PTB. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on all this. Do you guys like all this? Is there anything that you guys dislike? I'd be really curious to hear if anybody dislikes anything about this patch. Because this all looks, again, like, it all looks like a net positive. Some of it could have been more. Like, they could have done more tonight, you know? Like, they could have done more to certain things. But none of it's a bad change. Like, I don't think anything is coming out worse than it went into it, right? Wait, does that make sense? Like, nothing is coming out of this worse than it was going into it. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. Anyway, that's it for me. Let me guys know your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious to hear, guys. I'm really curious to hear what everyone thinks about this, because I personally love it, and I'm excited to try to PTB. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for hanging out and listening. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your night. Hope you guys enjoyed the new patch, and I'll see you guys later. I'm out of here. I'll see ya. I'll take care. I'll see ya. See you later. See ya.